My dear friend, what would happen if, for just one moment, you stopped thinking about what is and started imagining what could be? What would your life look like if you removed the limits you placed on yourself? We spend so much of our lives thinking small, not because we are small, but because we have been taught to be. From childhood, we're told what's possible, what's realistic, what's safe. And slowly, we begin to shrink our dreams to fit inside the box the world gives us. But the truth is, the greatest transformations in human history began not with action, but with a big thought. A temple begins as a vision in the mind of its builder. A forest begins as a single seed. A revolution begins as an idea. And your greatest life will begin when you dare to think beyond what seems possible. Part 1: The Prison of Small Thinking. Let me share a story from my early years in the monastery. Pause. There was a young novice who dreamed of becoming a scholar of sacred texts, but he believed he wasn't smart enough. "I cannot memorize so many scriptures," he told our teacher. "I struggle even with one." The teacher smiled and handed him a single verse. "Memorize just this," he said. The novice studied it, repeated it, lived with it. A week later, the teacher gave him another, and another. Years passed, and that same novice became one of the most respected scholars in the monastery. Not because he was born brilliant, but because he stopped saying "I can't" and started thinking, "What if I could?" Small thinking whispers, "I can't." Big thinking asks, "How might I?" Most people live inside invisible walls built by their own thoughts. They say, "I'm not that kind of person. I could never do that. It's too late." And the moment they say it, it becomes true, not because it is a fact, but because they believe it is. Our thoughts are the architects of our reality. Think small and your world becomes small. Think big and your world expands. Part 2: The Nature of Big Thinking. Thinking big is not about greed or arrogance. It is not about wanting fame or wealth. True big thinking is about expanding the boundaries of what you believe is possible. For yourself, for others, for the world. When I first entered monastic life, I thought my purpose was simply to find peace for myself. But my teacher said, "If your peace ends at your skin, it is not peace, it is selfishness." He taught me to think beyond my own mind, beyond my own comfort, to serve others, to dream of a world where more people could awaken. This is the essence of thinking big. It's about lifting your vision beyond the horizon you can currently see. There's a story in ancient Buddhist texts about a bird trapped in a small cage. Every day it dreamed of the sky. One day the cage door was left open, but the bird did not fly. It had lived in the cage so long that it could not imagine the sky was truly possible. We are like that bird. The door is open, the sky is vast, but our minds still cling to the cage. Thinking big is not about building the sky. It's about realizing it's already there and daring to spread your wings. Part 3: Why Thinking Big Changes You. There's a hidden truth about big thinking. It's not just about achieving big things. It's about becoming someone capable of them. When you decide to run a marathon, the first transformation is not in your legs, it's in your mind. When you decide to write a book, the first chapter is written in your belief. When you decide to change the world, the first revolution happens inside you. Every big goal demands a bigger version of you. It stretches your patience, your discipline, your courage. And even if you do not reach the mountain's peak, the climb itself transforms you. As monks, we often repeat a saying, "Aim for the moon, and even if you fall short, you land among the stars." Most people aim for the ground and they stay there, but those who aim higher become higher. Part 4: The Parable of the Two Farmers. Let me tell you a story. There were two farmers living side by side. Both planted seeds in the spring. The first farmer said, "I will plant just enough to feed my family." The second said, "I will plant enough to feed my village." The first farmer worked little, harvested little, and indeed fed his family. The second farmer worked longer, planned deeper, and though many seeds failed, his harvest fed hundreds. One day, the first farmer asked, "Why work so hard? My family is full." The second replied, "Because my heart is big. My thinking is not limited to my stomach." This is the difference between small thinking and big thinking. Small thinking asks, "What's enough for me?" Big thinking asks, "What's possible for all?" Part 5, How to Think Big. Now, how can you cultivate the power of thinking big? As monks, we follow a simple practice, and you can too. Expand your questions. Instead of asking, "What can I do?" ask, "What could I do if I wasn't afraid?" Instead of, "What's realistic?" ask, "What's possible?" The quality of your questions shapes the size of your vision. Surround yourself with big thinkers. In the monastery, we learn from great teachers not because they have all the answers, but because they think beyond our limits. Their vision stretches ours. Visualize vastly. Spend time imagining a bigger future. Close your eyes and picture not just who you are, but who you could become. The mind believes what it sees. Act on the vision even in small ways. Thinking big is not dreaming without doing. It is dreaming so boldly that even your smallest actions are guided by a larger purpose. Detach from immediate results. A big tree takes time to grow. If you measure it after a week, you'll think nothing is happening. Trust the process. Part 6, Big Thinking in Monastic Life. Even in the monastery where we live simple lives, thinking big is essential. Our goal is not just our own enlightenment. It is to create ripples of peace in a restless world. One of my teachers once said, "If you meditate for yourself, you will find calm. But if you meditate for the world, you will find compassion. And compassion is far more powerful than calm." Thinking big shifts your purpose from self-centered to universal. It turns your journey into a gift for others. This is why monks think big, not to own more, but to give more. Not to climb higher, but to lift others with them. The ripple effect of big thinking. A small candle can light another, but a great fire can light 1,000. When you think small, you influence your circle. When you think big, you influence generations. A teacher who dreams only of teaching a class will reach a classroom. But a teacher who dreams of changing education can transform a nation. A businessperson who dreams of profit will earn money. But one who dreams of solving human problems will leave a legacy. A monk who dreams of inner peace will find it. But one who dreams of world peace will move humanity toward it. This is the ripple effect of big thinking. It moves beyond you. It echoes beyond your lifetime. Moral story. The Two Pots and the Mighty Tree. Before we part today, let me leave you with a story that carries the essence of thinking big. Once upon a time, in a small village, there was an old gardener named Hari. Every morning, he carried 2 clay pots filled with water from the river to his garden. One pot was strong and perfect. The other had a small crack. By the time Hari reached his garden, the cracked pot would arrive only half full, while the perfect pot remained full to the brim. The perfect pot felt proud. "See how useful I am," it boasted. "You carry me, and I deliver every drop." The cracked pot, on the other hand, felt ashamed. "I am useless," it wept one day. "I waste water. I am broken." Hari smiled gently. "Come, my friend," he said. "I want you to notice something." He walked the cracked pot along its usual path, and this time it looked around. On its side of the path, flowers of every color bloomed in abundance. On the other side, where the perfect pot had passed, the path was barren. "Do you see?" said Hari. "I knew of your crack, and so I planted seeds along your path. Every day as you leaked water, you were watering them. Today, they blossom because of you." The cracked pot fell silent. It had never thought of itself as more than broken. It had never imagined it could grow a garden. Now, my friend, think about this. How often do we look at ourselves and see only limitations? How often do we believe we are too small, too weak, too flawed to make a difference? But perhaps the truth is not that we are broken, but that we are meant to bloom in ways we cannot yet see. Thinking big is not about being perfect. It's about seeing beyond the crack. It's about realizing that even your smallest self, guided by a larger vision, can create something magnificent. The cracked pot never imagined it could grow a garden, but the gardener did, and that made all the difference. So, too, the universe has planted seeds along your path, and it is waiting for you to think bigger, to water them with your steps, your dreams, your courage. Never underestimate the power of your thoughts. Even a single drop, when guided by a vast vision, can turn a barren road into a path of blossoms. Think big, dream boldly, and watch the flowers bloom. My dear friends, the limits of your life are the limits of your thinking. If your dreams are small, your life will shrink to fit them. But if your dreams are vast, your life will rise to meet them. Do not fear big dreams. Do not fear bold visions. Thinking big is not arrogance. It is gratitude to the gift of your potential. Remember, a tree never apologizes for growing tall. A river never doubts it can reach the sea. And you, too, are meant to grow beyond what you currently see. So today, I invite you to dream without boundaries. To think not just of what you need, but of what you could become. Take one step toward that vast horizon, and then another, and another, because once the mind expands, it never returns to its smaller shape. Seedling, think big, my friend, and watch your life grow to match the size of your thoughts. If this message touched your heart, I invite you to walk with me on this journey of growth and reflection. Pushpin, subscribe to this channel for more timeless wisdom from the monastery. Thumbs up like this video if it inspired you to think beyond your limits. Speech balloon and share in the comments. What is one big dream you're ready to embrace today?